most people's standard unit of measurement regarding whether or not something is worth doing is money. And they say otherwise, but that's not true. They'll say, yeah, I like your message, but they won't take that leap of faith until there's money. And I have this really interesting insight that I actually got from a banker. He said, money is something you spend on yourself. Capital is resource used to bring about an outcome on behalf of a community. And the stewards of capital, this is my insight. It's not his insight. He shared that part about capital and money, and he's right. But my insight, because my background is in fraud and catching people who are misappropriating funds, is that the stewards of capital don't understand that. They think that capital is money they can spend on themselves. So they don't get involved unless there's money, when actually what they're looking for is a large cachet of capital that they can misappropriate for their own purpose. And that's not a thing. So I actually have no incentive to share the capital associated with our endeavors, because it brings forth the wrong type of partners. It tells me that you want to spend other people's money, other people's capital on yourself. And it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for stewards that are more interested in a solution than they are the misappropriation of other people's capital. That's my thing. So I don't usually talk about the capital, but I can, actually, because we can do that part really, really well. But the whole thing is a vetting exercise, because I want to know, who are you? What kind of a person are you? Are you the kind of person who is primarily oriented towards the preservation of assets in alignment with a mission that was launched to bring about an outcome on behalf of a community? Or are you a person who is primarily motivated by the misappropriation of capital that you think of as money to help elevate your standard of living? And I'd say most people fall in the second category. They just don't know that about themselves. So that's the thing. And truth is a bitch. When projects come together, when organizations are created, there's the necessity to create something of a scaffolding, a coordination and governance fabric that actually allows them to sustain their affairs in a predictable, deterministic way. And a lot of times those systems are not sufficiently designed. They don't hope for the best and prepare for the worst. That's like a real common thing, actually. So in order to build something that anticipates people who are entertaining an internalized dishonesty regarding their role as a steward of capital, because they think of it as money, you have to actually go that extra mile. You have to build something that is transparent, accountable, and easy to audit, so as to discourage fraud, waste, abuse, and corruption. And what I just shared with you are best practices from the domain of anti-fraud. And that's what we built. We built that thing. So it's no surprise that you get those who fold their arms and say, oh, we don't really want to do it that way. I bet I know why. I know why. And then also, like, I didn't patent the thing. I actually published a white paper and a specification that encourages people to vibe code their own version of it, because that's the way to do it. I actually published it open source to GitHub years ago. Nobody did anything with it. So it helps me. It's kind of like what I learned as a skateboarder. You can run your mouth all you want, but sooner or later you got to jump down those stairs. There's like no way around it. And if you're going to talk your about the proper stewardship of resources, then I'm going to hold you to that. And I can guarantee you that most people don't want to. What they're going to do is try to figure out how to internalize dishonesty to rationalize executive compensation so they can turn capital into money, which is like not a thing, dude. My brother Kevin does a good job on shining a light on the problems. And for my part, as the half brother, the oldest brother, I focus on solutions, which is something I've been at for a long time. Neither one of my parents were altogether engaged. I think they did the best they could. I think that's the first time, it's the only time they really tell the truth, is that they'll say they did the best they could. And I think that's true. It's easy to throw stones at them. But the more difficult and more nuanced thing is that I don't think we were ever intended to do it alone. We were intended to do it within the context of a family, and that kind of came apart in the past generation or two. And so I think they did the best they could, and as a consequence, our youngest brother ended up on the streets, hooked on meth as a teen. So he came to me after getting pistol whipped, and I sent him back, and then he came to Kevin, who gave up his bed so Jason could have a place to sleep. And as a consequence, Jason's been clean for, I don't know, 30 years or whatever. He's a good dad. He's a good, productive member of society. Kevin's shining a light on the systems that sort of perpetuate a state of inequity that comes to the detriment of the least of these, my brethren, paraphrasing Jesus. And for my part, I intend to set the table so we can work together and make things better. And the good news is that within our system, we have plenty of opportunities to do that. So I like that part. It's raining, obviously. Well, here in Texas, this is a richness, this is an abundance, right? And I don't know, I take it as a gift. And I'm a fundamentally optimistic person. I'm a person who sees the good possibility in things. And so it's difficult for me to imagine that this story has anything but a happy ending. And that's particularly true to the extent that we commit to meet at the kitchen table so we can have a second helping of scalloped potatoes. That's kind of where I'm into it.